Have you ever met someone and felt your brain instantly shift gears? You don't know their history. You don't know their middle name. But suddenly they're everywhere in your thoughts. A random memory of their smile pops up while you're brushing your teeth. The sound of their name makes your stomach tighten in a way that feels equal parts thrilling and terrifying. You catch yourself imagining future conversations that haven't happened yet. That rush? That's lust. And before you judge yourself for it, understand something important. Lust is normal. It isn't desperate. It isn't shallow. It isn't something to be ashamed of. It's your brain and body recognizing attraction. It's biology saying, pay attention. Lust can feel playful, exhilarating, electric. It can also feel destabilizing, obsessive, and overwhelming. And the reason it feels so powerful is because it doesn't arrive as a single emotion. It unfolds in stages. If you don't understand those stages, you can easily mistake intensity for love, chemistry for compatibility, and longing for destiny. So let's slow this down. Let's break it apart. Because when you understand what's happening in your nervous system, you stop being controlled by it. Stage 1. Initial attraction. This is the spark. The moment your attention locks in. Maybe it's the way they look at you, just a second too long. Maybe it's their voice, low and steady. Maybe it's their laugh, or the way they move, or something subtle you can't even name. Sometimes it's not about appearance at all. It's energy. They enter a room and something in you shifts. Your body reacts before your logic does. You feel warmer, slightly more alert, more aware of your posture. Your thoughts narrow. You start scanning for ways to interact with them. Your brain flags them as interesting, rewarding, novel, and novelty is powerful. The human brain is wired to pay attention to what feels new and potentially meaningful. But here's where people get confused. A spark does not equal compatibility. It doesn't mean they're emotionally available. It doesn't mean they share your values. It definitely doesn't mean you've found your soulmate. It simply means your nervous system noticed something stimulating. At this stage, projection begins quietly. A helpful question to ask yourself is, am I attracted to who this person actually is, or am I attracted to what they represent? Because sometimes what hooks us isn't the person. It's the story we start building about them. The mystery, the possibility, the fantasy. Stage 2. Infatuation. If attraction is the spark, infatuation is the flame catching oxygen. This is when they stop being someone you noticed and start becoming someone you fixate on. You replay conversations. You reread messages. You analyze tone, punctuation, pauses. A delayed response can shift your entire mood. A simple compliment can carry you through the day. Infatuation is fueled by dopamine and uncertainty. The brain loves unpredictability. When something feels slightly out of reach, it becomes more valuable. If this moved you, comment 9 right now. If it didn't, comment 0. Your voice matters. Take 1 second and share it. The chase begins. And the chase can be addictive. Every small sign of reciprocation feels like a win. Every ambiguous signal feels like a puzzle to solve. What makes infatuation so intoxicating is the lack of information. When you don't fully know someone, your brain fills in the blanks. You assume their intentions. You imagine their depth. You assign qualities based on minimal data. In other words, the person you're falling for becomes half real and half projection. And projection is powerful. It allows you to fall in love with potential. But potential is not reality. During infatuation, it's important to ask, am I responding to who they've shown themselves to be, or to the version of them I've created in my mind? Because sometimes the intensity isn't about them at all. It's about the fantasy. Stage 3, climax. This is the peak of intensity. Emotionally, physically, sometimes both. At this stage, desire is loud. You want closeness. You want reassurance. You want clarity about where you stand. Your nervous system is fully engaged. Your body feels it. Your thoughts revolve around it. This is also where boundaries can blur. You might ignore red flags you would normally question. You might justify inconsistent behavior. You might tolerate communication patterns that don't actually feel good. Why? Because when lust peaks, the brain prioritizes relief. Relief from uncertainty. Relief from longing. Relief from the tension of not knowing. If the connection is mutual and healthy, this stage can feel affirming and exciting. There's reciprocity. There's communication. There's shared investment. But if it's inconsistent or one-sided, climax can slide into anxiety. You check your phone compulsively. You overthink shifts in energy. Your mood becomes tied to their attention. This is the critical moment to ask, am I choosing this person consciously, or am I reacting to the intensity of wanting them? Desire can be overwhelming, but overwhelming doesn't automatically mean right. Stage 4. Clarity. Eventually, the chemical high settles. The adrenaline fades. The fog lifts. And this is where things become real. You start seeing the person without the fantasy filter. You notice their communication style, how they handle conflict, whether their actions align with their words, whether you feel calm around them or constantly on edge. Clarity is quieter than lust. It doesn't feel explosive. It feels grounded. And sometimes clarity brings disappointment. The attraction was real. The chemistry was real. But the compatibility wasn't. And that realization can sting, but it's also protective. Other times, clarity deepens connection. The intensity softens into something steadier. Attraction remains, but now it's paired with emotional safety, with consistency, with mutual respect. The difference is subtle but profound. Lust pulls you in with urgency. Clarity helps you decide whether to stay. Lust is about desire. Clarity is about choice. And choice is what builds something lasting. Understanding these stages doesn't mean shutting down attraction. It doesn't mean becoming guarded or cynical. It means becoming aware. When you recognize what your nervous system is doing, you stop being dragged by every emotional surge. You enjoy the spark without losing your boundaries. You allow excitement without surrendering your standards. Intensity feels powerful, but intimacy feels safe. Intensity can mimic connection, but connection feels regulated. When you can tell the difference, you stop confusing obsession with compatibility. You stop chasing adrenaline and start choosing alignment. So reflect for a moment. Have you moved through these stages before? Have you ever stayed in infatuation longer than you meant to? Have you mistaken climax for commitment? Awareness changes everything. Because once you understand the rhythm of lust, you can ride it without being consumed by it. Attraction is human. It's natural. It's part of being alive. The goal isn't to suppress it. The goal is to understand it. Because when you know the difference between intensity and intimacy, you protect your heart without numbing it. You give yourself the chance to build relationships that feel not only exciting, but emotionally secure. And that's the real power. Lust is not the enemy. It's not something you have to suppress, shame, or run from. It's information. It's your nervous system lighting up, your biology responding, your mind reacting to novelty and possibility. The problem isn't that we feel intensely. The problem is that we often mistake intensity for intimacy. When you understand the stages, attraction, infatuation, climax, and clarity, you stop being swept away by every emotional wave. You start recognizing what's chemistry and what's compatibility. You begin to ask better questions. Do I feel safe? Do I feel respected? Am I choosing this person? Or am I just reacting to the rush of wanting them? That awareness changes everything. Because real connection isn't just about sparks. It's about steadiness. It's about how you feel when the adrenaline fades. It's about whether your nervous system relaxes instead of tightens when you're with them. When you can tell the difference between intensity and intimacy, you stop chasing chaos and start building something grounded. If this helped you understand your own patterns a little more clearly, take a moment to like this video so more people can find it. Share it with someone who might be confusing chemistry with compatibility right now. And subscribe for more deep dives into psychology, relationships, and the hidden forces shaping how we connect.